Let me be brutally honest about last month. It was great. I took a holiday, I had a fantastic time with my family, but I didn't exactly watch what I was eating. I gained a bit of body fat, maybe a couple of kilos. I might have lost a bit of muscle since I didn't go to the gym. Now, I don't think this is a big deal, and one of the reasons I keep in shape year round is so that I can enjoy the occasional time off without worrying about it. So last month was great. I have no guilt about last month. I have no shame about last month. But last month is over. This month, I plan to lose at least some of the weight I put on. My target is 5 kilos or 10 pounds. And like anything else, losing weight is both an art and a science. Actually, it's a science, then an art, then a science again. So let's talk first about the first science, right? This is largely the science of setting and achieving goals. So what I'm going to do, and what I'd like you to do if you're so inclined, is to write down your goal for the next 4 weeks. So for me, as I said, I'd like to lose 5 kilos. In order to do that, that's about 10 pounds for those in the US. In order to do that, I need to know the baseline. Now, my baseline, because I've just got off the scale, my baseline is 81 kilos. And so that would put my target weight at 76, right? And that'll help me to track progress on a daily or a weekly basis, or whenever I want to track it. Now, I won't get obsessed with the number on the scale, and I urge you not to get obsessed with the number on the scale or any particular number per se. I've had clients who weigh themselves multiple times a day. Don't do that. But do test at least weekly so that you can know if you're moving in the right direction and so that you can have some encouragement, right? It feels good to know that you've lost a pound or a kilo or whatever it may be, right? And that good feeling is what we need. We need the small victories to keep us going. Also, be sure to weigh yourself at the same time of day. So, for example, in the morning, just after going to the bathroom, or in the evening, just before sleeping. It doesn't really matter what time of day you weigh yourself, but just weigh yourself at the same time of day every day. Now, once you've set your primary goals, you can also set secondary goals if you so choose. So for me, my secondary goals are about reversing my vitiligo a little bit, maybe improving my blood sugar, my A1C, my fasting insulin, and my triglycerides. If you're super anal about these things, you can put together a spreadsheet like I do, but you don't have to. Okay, so these are the goals. What's the strategy? Well, here's where we get to the art of weight loss. Because there is no one strategy that's going to work for everyone. In order for me to help you develop your own strategy, I need to know the answer to the following questions. Do you have a lot of weight to lose or a little? What dietary approaches have worked for you in the past? What other health indications do you have or are you concerned about? Would you identify more as a moderator or more as an abstainer? And a moderator is someone who can have just one potato chip and not eat the whole bag, or just one slice of cake without finishing the whole thing, right? Based on your answer to those questions, we might identify one of the following dietary strategies, right? So we have the low glycemic index, which is basically a modified version of the standard diet. We have a full ketogenic diet, which is very low carb. We have a meat-based diet, or we have a fully carnivore diet, right? All of those have in common a basic principle for weight loss, which is that if you want to lose weight, you got to worry about the carbs. I don't think, my own experience shows that principle is very fundamental to weight loss. Okay, so I can't answer those questions for you. You can answer those questions for you. But let me answer some of those questions for myself, and that'll then inform the decision of what dietary strategy I'm going to use to lose weight. Now, I don't have too much weight to lose, as I said, so 5 kilos is not a lot. In the past, I've had to lose a lot more. And when I had to lose a lot more, ketogenic diets is really what worked very well for me. I do have another health condition that I'm worried about. That's my autoimmune disease, vitiligo. And it would be great to see some reversal in that as well. And in general, I would say that I'm an abstainer. I'm not a moderator. It's very difficult for me to have just one little piece of chocolate or one little slice of cake or even one potato chip, although I'm more of a sweet person than a salty person. So based on those answers, I'm going to go for a meat-based, so 70 to 80% of my calories coming from meat. That'll be my approach. Okay, so that's the strategy. What about tactics? The tactics, again, come back to the science of the whole thing. So when we're talking about tactics for weight loss, we're largely trying to answer 2 questions. Number 1, how can I make this as easy as possible for myself? In other words, how can I avoid temptations and sort of make it easy for me to adhere to this whatever you want to call it, this diet, these changes, this lifestyle changes for a few weeks. So for example, if I know I have a weakness for chocolate and giving up chocolate is key to my success, can I keep chocolate out of the house? If not, can I at least keep it out of sight, right? We know from science, so there have been studies done on this, we know that willpower is a bit of a misnomer. Those who are credited with having good willpower are simply those that don't expose themselves to temptation, right? So the study that I have in mind is, the people who were able to not eat the potato chips were people who hid the potato chips from sight, right? Or you can think of the kids and the marshmallows. The kids are told, if you don't eat these 2 marshmallows, you get 4 marshmallows later. The ones who succeed at that, sometimes they hide the marshmallows with their own hands or with a cup or something, so they try and forget that it's even there, right? So that's the question of willpower. The second question is, how can I keep myself accountable? And here it's best to have some support, either a supportive family or a health coach that you can share your journey with. Accountability to yourself. So we can all try and be accountable to ourselves, but that's all internal. That's a dialogue that's going on here in your head. There's nothing else that's keeping you accountable, really. Some people can succeed like that, but not many. Most of us need some external accountability as well. So if you have a gym buddy, someone who will, call you up and say, let's go to the gym, or someone who you can, compete with in the gym or whatever that may be, that's great. If you have a family member or a friend who wants to do the same challenge with you that you want to do, or if you don't have those things, a health coach is a great option. If you're looking for a health coach, my contact information is below. And that's pretty much it. Of course, there are more tactics and rules you could follow, but when it comes to weight loss in particular, I prefer principles over rules. And again, the principles I'm going to give you are applicable to everyone, but I'm highlighting the ones that are most applicable in my own journey, right, and for myself, right? So some of these principles I'll be following are this. So number one, as I said, I'm following a meat-based carnivore-ish protocol. That means that every meal will be built around a meat component. Low-carb vegetables will be included. No, I do not do the Paul Saladino thing of adding lots of fruit and honey and fructose. I think that's a terrible idea. But cooked vegetables in moderation, perfectly fine. I will also do dairy, but not milk. Now, milk has way too much sugar in it to be a good choice when you're trying to lose weight. Dairy in general can be hyperpalatable. Hyperpalatable means it's very easy to overconsume, if you want to think about it that way. So dairy won't necessarily be the center of any given meal. But if I want to use a bit of cheese or a bit of cream as a condiment or an accompaniment, that's totally fine. Number 3, no processed food of any kind. All right? That includes some of my favorite low-carb protein bars and all that kind of stuff. The fact is, when it comes to these kind of highly processed foods, even if they claim to be healthy, there really are no healthy options. So if you're trying to be strict, you're trying to lose weight, maybe give those protein bars a rest too. Number 4, since I do have a sweet tooth, so number 4 is really about knowing where you're going to go off the rails. So if I fail, it'll be because I was tempted by, in my case, chocolates, maybe dates and fruits in the fridge. So knowing that, I have to have a strategy for how to counter that. So my strategy is that I will make a very eggy custard. It really has 3 ingredients, so like egg yolks, cream, and maybe some stevia and some vanilla, so 4 ingredients. And I'll make that from time to time, or maybe I'll have it in the fridge to whip out and have with some low-carb fruits, maybe some berries or something, when I feel like I want something sweet. That's just me being realistic about what's going to make this plan work for me. If I could do it without anything sweet at all, that would be preferable. But if I set that as a hard and fast rule, I might not be able to stick to it. So it's better that I plan for having a dessert that can be part of the plan, than that I sort of try and be stricter with myself than I think I can manage. Number 5, if I order out or go to a restaurant with my family, I'll always choose the lower carb side dish. So tonight, I think we're going to be ordering from a Greek restaurant. They have a really lovely roast potato that comes with a lamb dish that I love a lot. I won't get the roast potato. I'll get some creamed spinach instead, right? So stick with the lower carb side dishes. Number 6, no alcohol. In fact, no drinkable calories at all. I think this should go without saying. Alcohol deserves perhaps a special mention because there are sort of all alcohol contains carbs, let's be honest about it. Alcohol is a sugar, basically. That's point number 1. Point number 2, and this is, I think, the more important thing, decision-making when you've had a drink or two is not what it was before you had the drink or two, right? So, for example, and I've had this happen, where I know that I'm strict, I know that I'm not tempted by the dessert, but I thought, okay, let me have a brandy or something after my dinner. It's not, looking at the carb content or whatever, that brandy is not going to be a problem for me. The problem then comes after that when I have the same decision around, okay, should I have that chocolate? Should I have those dates or whatever it is? Now my judgment is a little bit impaired, my willpower is a little bit impaired, and I'm much more likely to reach for the chocolate or whatever my weakness may be. So definitely no alcohol and no drinkable calories at all. Number 7, I might integrate some kind of fasting, some kind of time-restricted feeding with this protocol as the month progresses. Generally, I eat sort of 2 or even 3 meals a day within about 14 to 16 hour window. I think sticking to 2 meals a day is just sort of my standard, so that I don't consider that fasting of any kind. But I might do a longer fast, so especially a 36-hour plus fast. I might do that, but it's not really the priority. My priority will be all the other things that I mentioned. But as we get to week 2 or week 3, I may include that, especially if I feel like I'm not making enough progress towards my goals. And that's pretty much it for how I'm going to approach the next 4 weeks. Hopefully, and I'll report back and see how I did. Hopefully I hit those targets. If not, I'm sure I'll have learned from the experience and have something to share with you as well. So that's it for me. How about you? Do you have weight to lose or another health goal that you're working on? Why not get started today? Why don't you write your targets down in the comments? One way to hold yourself accountable is to be very public about what you're going to try and do. So just writing down below in the comments that whatever it is, I plan to lower my blood sugar from, whatever it is, 6.0 to 5.7 in a month. Those kind of targets are super helpful in getting you started. So with that, thanks for watching. I'm Samir, and I'm a health coach and a PhD student based in Johannesburg, and I will see you next time.